against an entire army. What can you do on your own?
I told you. It's enough.
Oh, so I see. No. They're powering up a stasis beam. We can't escape.
You work on the batteries. I'll buy us some time.
.343 Industries is now handling its third iteration of the series with Halo Infinite. The developer is broadening how the game is played while keeping the Halo feel at its core. It has added some much needed changes that doesn't ruin the experience its fan base is accustomed to. The story follows up approximately a year and a half after Halo 5 Guardians, where Master Chief seemingly met his demise, but has now been located by a random pilot who picks up a friendly on his radar. The Banished have won the war and are in control of things as a resurrected Master Chief aims to not only restore humanity, but also take down the Banished and figure out what happened to Cortana. Halo Infinite combines both a linear level structure with an open world interface that takes place on Zeta Halo. The early and closing linearity of the game feels close to home for Halo fans. These areas take place inside of dark corridors as waves of increasingly difficult enemies and boss encounters stand in the way. Enemies will arm themselves with better weapons over time and increased armor along with some cloaking thrown in there. Luckily, new assistance has been offered to Master Chief to help with these encounters. He can be upgraded with the addition of Spartan Cores. With these Spartan Cores, players are able to upgrade new attributes such as the grapple shot, shield core, threat sensor, drop wall, and thruster. I never knew that I wanted to be Spider-Man with Master Chief, and the grapple shot offers this experience and is one of the biggest game changers in the series. Upgrading this adds perks such as shocking enemies for immediate kill with the melee attack. The other attributes can be upgraded as well. Zeta Halo makes up the middle and main portion of Halo Infinite. This is the open world gameplay. Taking a cue from the Lord of the Rings games in recent years, Zeta Halo offers a lot of bases known as fobs that are overrun with Banished. Clearing these fobs will claim the base for the player and allow not only fast travel locations, but access to resources and support, including marine assistance. Zeta Halo is rather large, as it is divided into two main sections and features different levels of terrain that require some separate vehicles to navigate. All the vehicles that Halo fans know and love are here, including the Warthog, Ghost, and more. There are also high-value targets on the maps that provide a better version of certain weapons that can be accessed from the fobs once defeated. Choosing to go with the open world brings up a ton of filler time and exploration for players. However, currently, there is no cooperative campaign in Halo Infinite, as this can really open things up for multiple players. The idea of going open world is good up front, but fairly short-sighted. This is where you will find the Spartan Cores for upgrading Master Chief, but there isn't a broad range of upgrades. There is no leveling up in the game, so basically the exploration comes down to finding skulls, which offer different effects to play with, and taking out high-value targets to unlock better guns to choose from. Do note, however, that these guns will only be accessible from fobs and can't be used during the latter portion of the campaign. So ultimately, it questions what players are playing for other than hitting 100% completion on the game. The area can be re-accessed after beating the campaign. With a little bit of exploration during my run on the campaign, it took roughly 10 hours to complete with focusing on the story. That isn't super long, and the fact that grinding for upgrades doesn't amount to much of a difference, the campaign ends up feeling short. The visuals are much improved over what was originally showcased last year, so those fears can be buried. Halo Infinite relies very heavily on its lighting engine, and it can look extremely beautiful at times. HDR is imperative for this game to shine, as it allows all the indoor lighting in the dark areas to really stand out. The main issues crop up in Zeta Halo, with some object pop-in and large structures at a distance. These structures just don't look right at times, and it's as if they were awkwardly cut off. Player models, especially Master Chief, are highly detailed, but these models really depend on the reflection from the armor to look great. This review was conducted on PC rather than using an Xbox console. With an RTX 3080 in 4K on Ultra, the average was right around 70 frames per second outdoors and 90 indoors. Even with this, there were major issues, and this may be related to the build that was provided for review and possibly a driver issue. Hopefully this is just the build. Audio remains a top priority for 343 Industries, as it delivers on providing some of the best in the industry for Halo Infinite. This section is the most Halo theme there is in the world. Halo Infinite multiplayer almost needs its own separate review, as it is its own separate entity. There is no local split-screen multiplayer or campaign co-op. The game does support LAN connections and is free to play. There is a big battle mode available and ongoing seasonal events to help change things up. There are 4 game types for ranked arena action, which pits 4v4 and offers every bit of nostalgia that you can imagine. The gameplay is addictive, and going back to capture the flag offers the best experience for that mode in any game. If you're looking for a free-to-play online shooter that you can pick up and play immediately, this is the best to date. Halo Infinite concludes a good run for Microsoft exclusives to launch in 2021, and it stands up to the best of what the Halo series has offered over its 20-year run. The change is to incorporate a hybrid linear and open world concept is good on the surface, but it could go a bit deeper on the open world side. Co-op will certainly aid this down the road, but the lack of any type of customization for weapons or secrets really will just make it a mode to mess around with. The gameplay and shooting mechanics remain excellent, and the inclusion of the grapple shoot is the right mechanic for the series. The lighting and reflections stand out the most with the visuals, and hopefully by the time the game launches, any issues with PC will be ironed out. The story is solid yet conservative, and it doesn't dare to do anything outlandish, but it also won't be very memorable. The longevity of Halo Infinite will rest with its multiplayer battles, as this is the online shooter the world has been needing. Halo Infinite is definitely the defining project from 343 Industries thus far. Make sure you head over to Hardcore Gamer to check out the written review, and like and subscribe this page.